our 4 p.m. news. Welcome to today's news. My name is Diana Ndulu and this is our 4 p.m. news in Top Prime Media. Leaders and lawbreakers from the ruling United Democratic Alliance UDA and Ori Democratic Movement ODM met in Nairobi today for an high-level political section aimed at reviewing progress on their cooperation framework and assessing key national reforms. The joint meeting, attended by the members of both parties, focused on evaluating the implementations of 10-point agenda, the collaboration's political pact, and we agreed upon the guide of practitioners and efforts of the governance, economic reforms, and institutional changes. During the section, lawmakers received reports and achievement on gaps in delivering an agreement of reforms across the several sectors, including legislative priorities, and remain under the review. Speaking after the meeting, UDA leaders underscored the importance of sustained collaboration with ODM, saying the partnership is designed to foster political stability and drive reforms that benefit all Kenyans. The liberator of unity between the parties is critical as Kenya continues to implement major policy changes and prepares for the future elections. On this part, ODM party emphasized that the need to be continued cooperation and the huge party members to stay focused on delivering the results rather than dwelling in internal disagreements. It described an ongoing talks on part of border effects to maintain national cohesion and ensure the governance agenda reflects the interests of Kenyans across the country. However, the meeting is also sparked debate within the ODM ranks, with some party members raising concerns about the cooperation is being managed, arguing the clear communication of the party's priorities within the alliance. The voices called for a careful consideration of the late party founder vision as the partnership progresses. Political analysis says that joint talks signal the substance of efforts to keep UDA and ODM partnership on focus, and even on both parties navigate of internal dynamics and differing expectations ahead of 2027 general election cycle.
Last 3, in fact 2 years, because we changed the law again, courtesy of Parliament, we started implementing the law that Parliament passed 2 years ago. We have saved an additional 370 billion in 2 years. Today, savings stand at 690 billion Kenya shillings, projected to hit the 1 trillion shilling mark by the end of next year. Again, historic, because we have more than doubled our national savings in 2 years compared to what we had saved for 62 years. Your Excellency, all these macroeconomic indicators point to a better Kenya, a stronger economy. No wonder all the ratings of the Kenyan economy by international credit rating agencies have been positive on Kenya. From Standard & Poor to Moody's, Kenya now has been upgraded to somewhere between B3, B-, a stable economy by sovereign credit rating companies which are global and therefore are not politically inclined. And therefore, this macroeconomic heavy lifting has taken us a bit of time, but we're in good place now. Going forward, the remaining part is easier because now we now move into the realm of microeconomics, that is putting money into the pockets of individual citizens, creating jobs and income opportunities, and also employment, jobs, household incomes, and that is where the other programs that we have rolled out are going to take us, as we are going to see. So that is how the economy has been stabilized over the last 3 years, and some of the interventions required parliamentary supports of the two houses of parliament, and we applaud Parliament in its entirety for that support. Number two, Your Excellency, is agriculture. We have undertaken a number of agricultural transformation steps in the last 3 years as the broad-based administration. Number one, we started with the registration of farmers. Before then, we didn't have a database on farmers. And now we have a database of farmers. We know what they farm, the acreage of land, the kind of fertilizer they need, and where they are. And we are now having 7.3 million farmers whom we know what they need in terms of farm inputs. That was a major milestone of the achievement of this administration quite early within the first year. Number two, we've worked on the farm inputs to bring down prices of farm inputs, mainly fertilizer, from a high of 7,000 shillings per 50 kilogram bag of fertilizer to now the current 2,500 shillings per bag. We've also subsidized certified seeds to make them more affordable, and the result of these interventions have been to improve productivity in agriculture. Maize, for example, the staple crop, we have seen an increase in our maize production from 44 million bags in 2022 to 75 million bags last year, 2025. We have also seen the increase in terms of income and returns on coffee from an average of 60 to 70 shillings a kilo. Today, a kilo of cherry, the farmers are getting somewhere between 120 and 160 shillings, more than double of what the prices were in 2022. Earnings from tea over the last years have improved from 154 billion in 2022 to last year 215 billion Kenya shillings, the highest returns from tea in the history of our country. We've also increased our production of sugar, because for a long time Kenya has been importing sugar. Your Excellency, you recall more than 20 years ago when you were Minister for Agriculture, you still used to lead Kenya's delegation to Zambia to negotiate for COMESA safeguard measures so that we can get sugar imported into Kenya. In the last 3 years, Your Excellency, through your leadership, we've been able to reduce the imports of sugar by over 70%. The production has risen from 472,000 metric tons in 2022 to 815,000 metric tons in 2025. Through your leadership and with the help of both houses of parliament, we have been able to bring in a new law in the sector to eliminate cartels and to provide for partnering with private sector to lease government-owned sugar factories, Mumias, Nzoia, Chemelil, Sony. And today, we are now not just having an additional 200,000 acres under sugarcane production, but we are also having timely payment for farmers, of course at better prices, from 3,500 shillings per ton to the current 4,500 shillings per ton. Your Excellency, because of these reforms, the cartels in the sugar industry have been dealt with, and in the next 2-3 years, Kenya will not require to import a single grain of sugar from anywhere. In fact, Kenya will start exporting sugar to the other countries in the region. Your Excellency, for the first time, farmers are being paid every 7 days for their delivery of cane, and workers are being paid at the end of the month. And for the first time since sugarcane growing was introduced in Kenya, farmers of sugarcane farmers are earning bonus, as you yourself has presided over the issuance of bonus in Mumias, and I'm sure for the other sugar factories, the bonuses should be coming at the end of the year. So that is what we've done for sugarcane. And in terms of milk production, Your Excellency, we've been able to increase production from 4.6 billion liters in 2022 to 5.3 billion liters last year. Our exports of
we have taken this
President and the Vice President
legacy through our continued commitment to the ideals he championed for the unity and advancement of our country. Our coming together 1 year ago was guided by one overriding objective: to stabilize our country and to address long-standing socio-economic and political challenges. For too long, our politics had been consumed and trapped by division, tribal competition, and regional rivalry instead of focusing on the real issues affecting the lives of all Kenyans equally. Together, we resolved to change that. Today's joint parliamentary group meeting between the two parties is therefore significant, not only because it reflects the spirit of that agreement, but also because of the responsibility we carry as leaders to deliver on commitments made to the people of Kenya. We had planned to mark the first anniversary of the signing of the MOU on the 7th of March by assessing the progress made in implementing the agreed agenda. However, as you all know, in the days leading up to that date, our nation, where we have reached, I don't know whether this is the right,
on the status of the 10-point agenda agreed upon under the...
So, the last one.
And the revival of the stalled road projects through the securitization of the Road Maintenance Levy Fund. I want to invite Honorable Junet to continue.
Oh, okay. The meeting resolved to extend the mandate of the Oversight Committee by 60 days to enable it to finalize outstanding matters arising from the implementation of the agenda. In addition, the joint PG agreed to establish a joint technical committee with each party nominating 4 members and the respective executive directors serving as joint secretaries. The committee will develop the shared policy agenda and priorities of the two parties, which will inform the work of a coalition framework to be considered later in the year. So this is the technical committee that will develop the issues and the things that pertain to the public and the two parties and lay ground on what issues the negotiation committee will discuss on the issues. The joint parliamentary group reaffirmed its commitment to continued cooperation in the national interest and to advancing reforms aimed at strengthening Kenya's democracy, stabilizing the economy, and improving the livelihoods of the people of Kenya. The PG resolved to improve
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has accused the government targeting businesses owned by people from the Mount Kenya region from recent demolitions in Kenya. Gachagua claims traders from Gikuyu, Embu, and Meru communities are unfairly affected in areas such as Roysambu and Githurai. He also questions why buildings like Winston Hotel Nairobi linked to the land owned by the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority have not demolished. The government led by President William Ruto says the demolitions are meant to reclaim the public land.
Alternatives is both unjust and deeply irresponsible by this brutal regime. These traders represent the backbone of our informal economy. They are not criminals. They are hardworking citizens striving to feed their families under extremely difficult circumstances. For once, be mindful of the hustler whose healthcare, education, and all other systems you have destroyed, and they are crying in great pain and anguish in a bottomless economic abyss. How do you feel or even sleep at night when women and children are crying in the cold rainy season? And just the other day, you butchered hundreds of Gen Zs and others ordered to be shot on the legs. What is even more troubling is the glaring selectivity in the application of the demolition orders. While the government moves with a remarkable speed and force against kiosks and small stores owned by struggling Wananchi from the Mount Kenya region, other large and well-known establishments that sit on contested public land remain conspicuously untouched and rarely discussed in the same breath. Why can this remarkable government energy be used to unlock drainage in Nairobi and streamline disaster management in our cities? Selective enforcement undermines public trust, fuels perceptions of political victimization, and deepens ethnic and social tensions in our country. Kenya cannot afford governance that appears punitive to the poor while protective of the rich and powerful. I therefore call upon the relevant authorities to immediately halt these demolitions and subject the entire exercise to a transparent and fair review. Any enforcement of planning regulations must be humane, lawful, and uniformly applied across the board, from the smallest roadside store to the most prominent commercial establishment, and all grabbed. Kunyamalia nyumba itu kumeonithia thina kumenyarira thiku ciao ni ndare na ningo mutagaga kuria nyumba itu mweshimiwa wothe nyitaragira na ruto kunyamalia nyumba ino itu MC wothe nyitaragira na ruto kunyamalia nyumba ino itu itu kuonana nao na nginya ma MC mame Nairobi maranyitana na Sakaja na ruto wananga indo cia andu itu mamenya githurana ni giukite na nyumba ino ithu twari kuo na ithu tuku ndio tugakorwo turi kuo na ningwaria na nyumba itu nigetha andu acio othe maranyitana na ruto makaingatwo tondu gutiri hindu ngithurwo ni andu makwendithie magikuhe kura umateithie umarugamirire na uranyitana na andu aria maramanyamaria na aria maramagiria thayo thiini wa mucii wa Nairobi. Asante sana. I think that is enough.
Babu Owino has obtained court orders stopping the planned demolitions of Gikomba Market in Nairobi. The Embakasi East MP moved to court to prevent the evacuations of traders, arguing that thousands of livelihoods depend on the market. The court orders temporarily halts the planned actions as the case is on ad.
Individually or in the company of others has a right to own property anywhere in this country. The same constitution says in Article 43 sub-Article 1 of the right to housing that you have a right to own a house, to access a house and have adequate housing, and nobody should infringe on that right. The same constitution in Article 28 talks about the human dignity, that human dignity must be preserved and respected. And when we talk about the Land Act 2012, Section 152A talks about unlawful eviction, that nobody should be unlawfully
in full knowledge that the Mheshimiwa Babu Owino
official, any police officer 15 years adversely, they ought to have been the real owners of the property through adverse possession. So we want to warn the government of these games that they are playing with the lives of Kenyans. These Kenyans have worked so hard. These Kenyans wake up very early in the morning on a daily basis just to look for the next meal, just to look for the next school fee. These Kenyans are struggling. But the same Kenyans that you need to protect their inherent interests, you pursue them, you frustrate them, you want to take the little that they have And as a government, it's quite shameful. The county government of Nairobi, we know that you failed. Do not include these innocent Nairobians in your failing strategy. We will not allow you to take land that privately belongs to these individuals. I want to thank you very much, and I want to tell these residents that we have a court order blocking, restricting any government official, any police officer, any kanjo person, any person from the county, any person from the national government, from stepping on your parcel of land. Whatever you do with that information is up to you. From stepping, which means if they step, that amounts to trespass. And you know how you should deal with people who are trespassing on your parcels of land. Mnanisikia vizuri? Yeah. Court order is saying they should not. So police officers who will be used, misused and abused, msijaribu kukanyaga shamba la hawa wana Nairobi. Sisi tuko hapa kuprotect hawa watu wetu wa Nairobi. Nataka niwashukuru, tunarudi hapa kotini on the 28th day of April. Tunataka mshinde hii kesi ili muishi kwa amani. I want to take this opportunity to introduce a few of the advocates wenye wako hapa waseme jambo, alafu nyinyi kama residents pia tuchukue wawili peke yake.
Meru Senator Kaduri Murugi has described Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, that this associates with as insane. In a sharp criticism hired of recently, Murugi did not hold her back in expressing the disapproval of Gachagua's actions. Significant highlighted tensions within political circles. The remarks come amid ongoing debates over governance and leadership decisions, reflecting deepening divisions among political leaders in Kenya.
Mtu kama anakaa kama ni mwenda wazimu na hiyo grupu yake yote. Hakuna mtu wako hapo anakaa kama kana akili mzuri. Unajua siku hizi kuna hii shinda ya mental health. Lazima kila mtu, especially politicians, wao wanafanywa annual check-up ya mental health. Sababu ukiangalia wengi ni kama wako na hasira, wako na stress mingi, wako na kama wanaenda towards depression. Kwa hivyo mimi ila mambo yote anaongea siwezi mchukua. Na hata ukiangalia pale kwa nimeona one of the stations imeandika hiyo maneno na watu wamemjibu kweli kweli. Anamwambia huyu ni Kaburi, sio ulimchagua, ni sisi tulimweka pale. Hatukiona afanye kazi, ni sisi tutamtoa kwa kiti. Kwa hivyo huwezi kuja hapa kutueleza vile tutafanya. Na Wameru wanajua viongozi wao. Uzuri wa Wameru wanajua kuchagua. Wameru sio watu wa kukimbia na machama ama vitu vingine. Wanachagua kiongozi kulingana na vile wanamjua ataweza kuwasaidia.
Ndindi Nyoro has urged governance of not to use ongoing tensions in the Middle East of the reason to increase the fuel prices in the country. Speaking on the matter, Nyoro called the administrations of William Ruto to protect Kenyans from additional economic pressure, noting that many citizens are already struggling with high cost of living. The legislature emphasized that global conflicts should not automatically translate into higher fuel prices locally within clean justifications, urging transparency and fuel pricing. These remarks came of growing concerns with that instability in the Middle East could affect the global oil supply and prices.
Mnajua ya kwamba ukiongeza bei ya mafuta Kenya lazima unamaliza consignment ile ilikuja kwa bei ya chini. So as Kenyans we do not expect EPRA waanze kuhadaa wa Kenya na kuongeza bei ya mafuta, kwa sababu bei ya mafuta ya from the month of March up to April ni mafuta ambayo ililetwa Kenya kabla bei ya mafuta globally ianze kupanda. Kwa hivyo ile ukora mnapanga ya kuongeza bei ya mafuta this week, tutaonana ya nyinyi. Ya pili, the government introduced the reason why, na muangalia hivi, mafuta ikishuka globally ilitoka $100 billion per barrel, ikashuka hata dollars per barrel. Wakenya hawakuona ikishuka, walikuwa inateremshwa na shilingi na shilingi 2, haikiteremuka vile mafuta globally iliteremuka. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu in the first 2 years serikali wakaongeza VAT katika mafuta ya 8%. Kitambo ilikuwa 8%, wakaongeza 8%, now it is 16%. Alafu in the year 2024, immediately after the protests, serikali wenyewe wakaongeza fuel levy ya shilingi 7. Walitime vile mafuta ilikuwa inashuka, wakaongeza shilingi 7. Sasa nataka niwaeleze my friends, sasa mafuta haishuki tena, inapanda. Hiyo shilingi 7 mliongeza ya fuel levy na VAT, a time has come, you must remove it, kwa sababu you cannot transfer the rise in prices entirely to consumers. Vile mulisukisa mafuta na shilingi 1 kama peremende, vile ilikuwa inashuka zaidi katika global market prices. Hata saa hii sasa imeanza kupanda. Msitupee Kiswahili. VAT muondoe ile 8%. Na ile fuel levy ya shilingi 7 lazima ile ilisainiwa na minister in the last quarter of 2024. It has to be removed, because I know you are planning either this week or in the next month. Mnajaribu ati mkuja muambia wa Kenya mnaongeza mafuta kwa over 10 shillings per liter, ati muanza kusema ni Iran. Mnaongezaje bei ya mafuta haraka, na ikishuka mna take months kushukisha? Ikishuka mnachukua muda, ikipanda mnataka mkuja na time waseme mnaona Iran vile kunaenda, tunaongeza bei ya mafuta. Mtakapata my friends.
James Serenko has said he'll push the investigations into claims surrounding the death of Raila Amolo Odinga. Speaking during the public address in Nairobi, the Siaya governor said the truth will be established and called for transparency to address the public concerns. He added that leaders and authorities should ensure Kenyans receive accurate information regarding the matter.
Better time, and there will be legal processes if it's required to advance what I've been saying further. But I believe for now I've said enough of it, and your guess is as good as mine, whether or not Raila died on natural causes. Your guess is as good as mine, but I have taken the position.
Do you have faith in investigations led by the state to look into this matter?
Well, this must be in the state. I mean, it's not just the Kenya government which would be involved. Even the Indian government may have to be involved. Indian authorities may have to be involved. But so far, I think I've said enough, but I have not said the last word.
Reporting for Top Prime Media, that was our 4 p.m. news, and my name is Diana Ndulu, and let's meet for 7 p.m. news today.